Hey fellow Vault Dwellers, it's Angry Turtle, and in this video I'm going over all the legendary effects for weapons, both melee and range weapons, that are currently, in my opinion, the best in slot. As I did something similar in the past, although over several latest patches, a lot changes and it's totally outdated at this moment. Therefore I'm going over it again, 2021 update. And first, what you need to know, I will just go over the basics first to make it simple to understand the table that I made that should help you out. When you have a legendary weapon, what you see listed here, those legendary effects, are not in order. That's what you need to know. The order the legendary effects appear on the weapon card. Let's say it's random. It's not random, but let's say it's totally random. You shouldn't pay too much attention to this order because it doesn't always have any sense. Like in this case, ignore 50% of target armor. That's a prefix, what means the first star. That's a first star. Then, reduced weight, that's a third star. That's this star. This star comes with reduced weight. And 50% limb damage, that's first on the list. That's a second star. Then, as you can clearly see, it doesn't make much sense. And I have it in order in my table. I will show you the table now. That's a table I made with a legendary effect. Those are not all the legendary effects, but those are the legendary effects that, in my opinion, are really good and worth to mention. Then, here we have a first star legendary effects, which means you can get them on 1-star weapons or as well on 3-star weapons, but those are always on the first star. What as well means that you cannot have a weapon that will be vampire and quad, because those both effects are a first star effects, and you can have only one first star effect, one second star effect, and one third star effect on a weapon. I hope it's clear now. Let's start it. What are the best prefixes, what means first star legendary effects? I have Vampire on the first place because it's currently totally dominating everything else. Mainly because damage increasing effects are not as powerful as they used to be in the past. And in the same time, Vampire effect is not only triggered when you are attacking enemies, but as well, if you have Ricochet perk under Luck equipped, whenever this perk triggers, it will activate Vampire effect as well. That's for me definitely number one prefix. Then, on second place I have 3 effects, and here's why. Anti-armor is very universal, doesn't matter if you are playing bloodied build or full health build, doesn't matter what kind of weapon you are using. It's like always good. There's not many exceptions from that. It's always on top. Then we have quad. It's good for all the range weapons with rather small mag capacity, like most rifles. For example, fixers, handmaids. If you equip quad, it will increase the damage greatly because you don't need to reload so often. I already covered this topic, how the reload speed and quad effect affects your DPS in other video that was done a while ago, but it's still up to date. Therefore, I will link this video somewhere on the screen here if you want to take a look. But basically, for rifles like Fixer, Handmade, Quad is giving you the highest possible DPS. Then, if you care about DPS, Quad is the best. Then we have Blooded. It's still like, if you are using low health build, Blooded is still amazing. It works great like it used to, therefore it's still on the list. I don't think I need to explain much in here. Then we go for something like Junkies or Executioners. Executioners can be a surprise here, but I did a video not so long time ago explaining how Executioners is currently good. For both, for general use versus mobs, and for bosses at the end of the fight. It is at least on par with Junkies. That's why all those have on the third place. Next one we have 2-shot, but here I put this star and only combined with explosive on a second star, because 2-shot by itself is not really great. Like, I'm here on my weapon mule, as I have plenty of examples to show you whenever I'm talking about legendary effects. And here, like for example, this 2-shot 10mm submachine gun. You have this one additional projectile, but that's only 25% damage boost. It's not double damage, 25%, and it's additive boost. On top of that, it comes with huge penalty to the accuracy. Then that's why 2-shot by itself is not great. But in the same time, if you combine it with bullets explode for area damage, 2nd star legendary effect, it changes everything. Because for whatever reason, the explosion is fully doubled. What means you have 2 explosions of the full power. Then this changes a lot. And 2-shot is suddenly a good legendary effect. Then that's why I put this annotation there. As well, if you have naturally explosive weapon, like for example this Fatman, the 2-shot is actually a number 1 effect. Due to what I already said, it fully doubles the explosion. Then you have 2 full power explosions, which means there is no better effect for natively explosive weapons, like Fatman. Next, on number 4, I put Medics. That's because it's really cool effect. Like, Medics allows you to heal yourself and your teammates whenever you use a critical shot. What's really good, but in the same time the downside is you need to be able to use VATS to have any benefits out of Medics. But when you can use VATS, it's really good, and it's even better if you use it with shotguns, because every single pellet in case of shotguns will trigger Medic's effect. Then it's like a crazy healing whenever you crit with a shotgun. It's one of the best effects for support builds. Quick note in here, it's still currently very buggy if you use it on explosive shotgun. Therefore, you want a shotgun without explosive effect. And next, Instigating and Furious. They just like a honorable mentions in here. They're not really the best at this moment, but in the same time, they're close enough to other effects to be worth to mention them. They're not bad, they're not good. Personally, I'm not using those anymore, mainly because Instigating was great for melee weapon in the past, but since it was changed to additive damage, it's not really so much difference, and I will use Vampire over that. In case of ranged weapons, it's sometimes quite good, but lack versatility of anti-armor, lack DPS of quad, doesn't really carry anything special, and it's only good if it's enough to increase your damage to the point when you one-shot regular mobs. If it's the situation, then Instigating it's worth it. Then Furious, it's unfortunately not the best buff. It's capped at 45% after 9 shots, and you need to be shooting only 1 target. Therefore, it's way worse than everything above. That's why I mentioned it here. If you don't have anything better, you can have it. And as well, there is more effects that can be useful that I didn't even put on this list, just because they are worse than any of those. Then you can use other effects as long as you do not find any of those. That's at least my recommendation. Unless you have some use case for other effects that I don't know about, then definitely let me know. But that's what I'm using. And then we go into the 2nd star. And here situation is rather simple. What I put in here is this VAT hit chance and faster fire rate at the first place. And why I did that? Because basically, whenever you are using a weapon that is mainly used in VATS, this extra hit chance is very helpful to get all the headshots you need. And headshots usually offer the best damage increase, way better than extra fire rate can give you. But in the same time, weapons that are not used in VATS, like heavy guns, will benefit from faster fire rate way more than they can benefit from anything else. Just a quick disclaimer here, for whatever reason it seems that currently if weapons have a very high fire rate, it doesn't trigger all the crits that it should. Like if you have commando weapon with high fire rate and you hold a crit button and keep firing on the enemy, it seems that some of the criticals are missing. I'm still investigating that, then I don't have a definite answer what's going on, but at least it seems to be the case. Therefore, if you are a mainly VATS user with commando build, I would rather go with extra crit damage than faster fire rate. Or even better, VATS hit chance, as I already said. Then, still on the second place, Bullet Explode for area damage. And I was talking a lot about this effect in my videos already, mainly because as great as it is that you have those explosive bullets, there are some downsides. And if you want to know more, I will link the video talking about explosions and how explosions are working in this game. That will probably help you answer the question, do you want explosive bullets on your weapon? But when it works, it's good. And last one, damage while aiming. This is just like a honorable mention in here. It's not great. It's barely noticeable damage increase because it's additive damage increase, but it's better than nothing. Then it's in here. And here's an example of the weapon that I have that combine a great prefix, what's a vampire, and fire rate, because it's a heavy gun. Fire rate is amazing in this place because it not only increases my DPS, but as well, combined with vampire, vampire will trigger way more frequently. Although you need to know that if you will have explosive effect, explosions are triggering the vampire effect too. Then I could use a minigun that's vampire explosive and I can go even higher with healing. Then those are both valuable options. And then I have a rifle that if I would like to use it as a commando, this combat rifle, I have this vampire effect for healing and extra VAT hit chance to ensure that I will have only headshots and I will not miss. And then we have melee weapons, because melee weapons have distinctly different legendary effects than range weapons. And here on the second star, I would recommend increased swing speed. That's the best benefit you can have. And second place, that's still really good. It's my personal preference that swing speed is first, although more power attack damage is great. Those are basically like two of the good second star effects you can get on melee weapons. Therefore, whatever you roll, the swing speed of power attack damage, it's a good roll. In the same time, about the prefixes, I marked the ones that are range weapon only, and here about the best one for melee weapons, still vampire. In case of melee weapon, it's like a vampire, nothing, 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 and then you choose whatever from other possibilities. Because most of the prefixes barely increase, if it increases at all, your damage with melee weapons. Surprisingly, due to the additive damage formula that was implemented with One Wasteland, most of the legendary effects, when used with melee weapons, barely do anything. Like for example, anti-armor. Sounds great, but if you already have Incisor, most likely it will barely do any difference. It will do some difference on bosses, but not on regular mobs. If you add Blooded, you will have slightly more damage because you already have so many bonuses that Blooded in practice will increase your damage by like maybe 20% if you are lucky. And Executioners will be the only one that increases your damage a lot, but only in case of enemies below 50% health. And here we go for the last third star legendary effect, third star. And for the range weapons, I put faster reload on the first place because this legendary effect benefits every single weapon and increases your DPS. You reload faster, therefore you have less downtime from shooting. And second place, but it will be actually a first place if you are using exclusively VATS with your weapon, is less VATS action point cost, as it will allow you to keep your VATS up for longer and therefore achieve more damage. Third option, reduced weight. It's better on the weapons that do not have too many modifications, as it only applies to base weapon weight. it doesn't apply to weight of the weapon mods. Then in case of rifles, you will barely notice any difference. In case of heavy guns, the difference is quite significant. And there, number 4, we have VATS critical meter feels faster. And it's number 4 because any use out of this legendary, you need to be in the situation that this extra 15% will at least do something. As in case of bloodied builds with unyielding armor, you already can achieve critical every second shot without this effect. And if you are using full health build, it can be a situation that this extra 50% will actually not affect how often you have criticals. It is possible that you have criticals every third shot without this effect, and this effect will not be enough to push it to every second shot. Therefore, it is here, but the use case for this one is hard to find. And for the melee weapons, there's not too many choices really. The only one that is significant is 40% less damage while power attacking, as this can be used during fighting bosses, as power attacking bosses is a valuable way to go, and 40% less damage is a lot. Plus, the other options are really not great, like +1 strength will increase your damage, but is only a little tiny bit. I'm not sure if you will even notice, but this increases damage a little bit, and we have reduced weight, what's obviously utility value, the weapon will be lighter. And as melee weapon do not have too many modifications, it's working great. Then those are the choices. I even put it as second place together with +1 strength, as I don't know which one will be better for you. And those are legendary effects. You can copy this table if you want. And now let's go over the weapons again, the real weapons in game, like examples for that. And here a melee weapon with ignore armor and faster swing speed. Even though it's a 2-star, due to the fact that the 3rd star is not really important on melee weapons, it is great, and I'm keeping it on my mule. And here's one of the examples that's a Blooded Gatling Plasma, where my 2nd star extra critical damage doesn't actually do anything for me, as cost in VATS for this weapon is too high to benefit from this legendary effect. Although the Blooded and the reduced weight 1st and 3rd star are very good. Then I have this Executioner's Handmade with extra VAT hit chance. It's really good for mobbing because you shoot them a lot and the damage increase from Executioners is nice and it kicks in smoothly whenever enemy drop below 40% health, what usually allows to save a bullet or two on regular mobs, and VATS hit chance is amazing for that. In the same time, I can use this weapon if I want to finish off the boss and just kick in with this extra 50% damage that is multiplicative. That's like the only damage that is still multiplicative. Here's the example of the weapon that is actually not good, even though the effects are good. Like I have Executioners, but this is a sniper, what means I would like to kill enemy with the first shot, what means Executioner will not do anything for me, and then I have bullet explode for area damage, what's generally good, but in case of me going after enemies with a headshot, like I will be aiming for head, this explosion will barely do any damage, if this will do any damage at all, what means I have 2 legendary effects that will not help me, and I will be about as effective as with non-legendary sniper. That is my list and explanation for the best legendary effects by Turtle. Your list can be different, and that's great if you have something that you think I missed and is really important to know about. Comment section is yours. I hope this list will help you next time you'll be trying your luck with Merma, what you need to be looking for. And now as always, thank you a lot for watching and see you guys in the next one.